Hey everybody, how is it going today? Welcome to the channel if you are new, and welcome back if you are not. In this video, I want to go over some of the best looking trading setups that I see in the market right now. All right, well, let's get started. The first one I want to talk about is MRIN Software Incorporated, ticker symbol MRIN, and this one is the high flyer of the day as far as I can see. This one is up almost 60% at the moment, and it seems like almost every single day a stock is doing something like this. You know, it just seems like it's kind of going nowhere, and then all of a sudden you get a huge explosion up on massive volume. That's usually related to some kind of news. And, you're always left thinking, why didn't I buy that stock the day before? But honestly, these moves are something you don't see coming unless, you got some privileged information. But when a stock has a big gap up like this, you're probably thinking, how do I trade it? And when it's up here in no man's land, there's no technical levels around it, at least on the daily chart. So what you want to do, or what I like to do, is go intraday. I like to go to that 15-minute chart. And I like to look for a recent ceiling after the gap up. So if a stock gaps up and then it pulls back, I'll wait for it to make a little bit of a recent ceiling. As we can see, there's one right here at about $9.60. So if a stock gaps up, makes a little bit of a floor like this one has done and starts to go sideways, what I'm waiting for is a break above that recent ceiling that it made. Not the gap up ceiling right here, but the recent ceiling that it makes after it pulls back. And if it breaks through that, there's usually a pretty good possibility you're going to have a sustained run. Now, if this was me and I was trading this one, I do not have an order in the market right now. I'd probably put it at about $9.71, because usually when they break through these ceilings, they can take off pretty quickly. So I'm pretty comfortable just putting a buy stop just above that recent ceiling, and if it does take off, I'll catch it near the beginning of the move. And if it doesn't break through this price level and it just ends up being one of those that kind of roll over and fade into nothing, you don't get into that stock. So that's the way I like to play these ones. If in case you guys are kind of wondering about these gap up stocks, let me go back to the daily chart. And Robert from the Patreon traded one of these the other day, CRVS. He got in on this first day up here. I didn't get to see, where he bought it and where he sold it at, but I know he made some decent money on it. But let's go to the 15-minute chart, back it out a little bit, and go back to that first day where it gapped up. See, when you have this little gap up move like this and it pulls back, you kind of look for this recent ceiling that it made right there, right around 416. So I would probably put my buy stop right around, I like to put it a few cents higher, so I'd probably put it maybe right around 420 or so. And you can see this one kind of pushed through it and just kept moving up the entire day. Now, I probably wouldn't have held it this long, so this is the one is not typical, at least for me. I probably would have got out after I made a buck or so, but this one ended up being a huge gainer. If you wanted to just, get in on this little intraday breakout and just slap a trailing stop on it, you probably could have rode this thing up quite a bit, depending on how close you had that trailing stop. But I just wanted to talk about MRIN because there's been a lot of stocks that have been gapping up like that. And if you've been wondering how to trade those, that is how I personally like to trade those. If you have a different way you like to trade them, by all means, leave it for me down there in the comments, because I am always willing to learn new ways of trading. But let's get to the next one. And the next one that I want to talk about is ENDP, and I want to talk about this one next because I actually took a position in this one today. But before I get into it, if you don't mind liking the smash button and help me out with the YouTube algorithm, I would really appreciate it. And also, if you are new to the channel, I like to present trading opportunities that I see happening right now in the market. So if that's something that interests you, please consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss any of the trading ideas that I come across. But please remember, I'm not a financial advisor. All this is just my opinion. Please make all of your own trading decisions. And also, I have a Patreon, so if you would like to see what we are buying and selling in real time, that link is down there in the description. But getting back to this ENDP chart, you can see that this one looks sort of similar to the MRIN chart, except ENDP has been in a downtrend. And, well, I guess the other one was sort of in a downtrend as well, but this one is certainly a more defined downtrend. But we got that gap up a few days ago, and just kind of been watching this one for the last few days, waiting for a breakout, which we got today. Actually, let's go to that 15-minute chart. Back the chart out a little bit, but you can see this well-defined ceiling that I was talking about. Once you get the gap up and then the pullback, you kind of wait for that little ceiling, and then once you get a break above it, you know, there is a pretty good possibility that's going to start that next leg up. Now, there's no guarantee that's going to start that next leg up, but when you get a little ceiling like this, what I like to do is either if I miss the breakout and it pulls back to this breakout area, that's when I like to enter it. Or if I can kind of anticipate it coming, I'll put my buy stop just below that area. And I had my buy stop placed at $2.92. So it stopped me into the trade, and hopefully it continues going up. But if this does end up failing and breaking down, I'm placing my stop loss below $2.64. So I'm not risking a ton on it, just $2.92 down to $2.64. So, you know, it's a pretty good risk-reward trade from what I can see, but I just wanted to go over this one because this is exactly how I like to enter these trades, because you're getting in right at that potentially, you know, starting point of the next leg up, and it's real close towards the above the consolidation, so you know you're not risking a ton if it is a failed breakout. But just wanted to show you ENDP. Let's get into the next ones. All right, the next one I want to talk about is Netlist, ticker symbol NLST. I've talked about this one several times on the channel. This one has been mired in a pretty steep downtrend ever since its huge run up. This one, of course, is in litigation with Google, I believe, on some patent infringements. But this thing has been slowly grinding down, but it made it all the way down to this area right around $4.50 and has been finding some support and moving sideways. So when I see something like this going on, what I like to do is go intraday either to that 15-minute chart or the 5-minute chart, but this has been going on for over a week, so I would definitely want to go to the 15-minute chart on this one. You know, you kind of back it out and look for that recent ceiling and kind of wait for it to get above it. And that's the line that I had, but this thing just took off without me. So this is one that I just kind of have to look for another area of entry. You know, once it made this floor right here and just started slowly grinding higher, putting pressure on this resistance area. I was keeping a close eye on it, but this thing just exploded past the resistance area and just kind of took off without me. And that's going to happen sometimes. And when that happens, you just, you know, wait for another entry point if you want to get involved. And with this one, you know, you're starting to see this little ceiling develop right here, right around $5.75. So this is the area above this ceiling where I would really like to get involved on this one if it can hold this gap up. See, just because a stock gaps up doesn't necessarily mean it's going to hold it. So you kind of want to wait for it to prove itself by breaking through a recent ceiling. So I don't have a buy stop in the market on this one just yet. I want to look at it a little bit more, but if I did, I'd probably put my buy stop right around $5.80 or so. And if this gap does end up holding, and it looks like it could, because this is a accumulation pattern right here, and this is like the first step in the blast off of it, and the fact that it's holding the gap up for the most part, that is also a bullish sign. So these are one of those patterns that I really like to get involved with once they break through that recent ceiling. So if this one breaks through about 580 or so, I definitely want to get involved, but Netlist is looking super good right now. All right, well, the last ones I want to talk about is actually an entire group. I want to talk about the airlines, and right here I have their ETF up. The symbol is JETS. I came across this one, and I really liked the way the pattern was shaping out. Definitely looks like these things are bottoming out. Now, the airlines and the cruise lines and a bunch of the reopening plays that, you know, bottomed out in the summertime after the COVID collapse, you know, they were caught a pretty decent bid and have been rising up steadily. But as we can see over the last several months, you know, they've been pulling back, and it looks like they are starting to catch a bid again. So it looks like some of the reopening plays might be headed back up, and definitely looks like the airlines are bottoming out. I took a look at some of the cruise lines earlier, and they are starting to look pretty good as well. So what I did was take a look at some of the stocks in this group and see how they were looking. And the one that I saw that I liked the most was American Airlines. So I actually bought some call options that expire on Friday. I bought the 2150 call that was only worth 3 cents a piece. So if this thing ends up getting a nice move up, and this thing is definitely starting to coil up, so I think a breakout is very possible. This is a low probability trade because the delta on these call options was only at 10. So they are a long shot, but if we do get a coiled up breakout out of American Airlines, those should pay off very nicely. But man, some of the other stocks in that group are looking super good as well. We could take a look at Delta Airlines. You can definitely see that they look like they are bottoming out and ready to explode. Now, one thing I like about the American Airlines chart versus this one, if we go back to it, you can see American Airlines, if they do get that breakout, they're going to be above that yellow line, that 200 period simple moving average. So it probably will have less obstacles to get through if we do get a nice breakout. You know, so if we go back to Delta Airlines, you see it could be tough getting above that yellow line, that 200 period simple moving average that's just above it. And since I'm buying options that are expiring on Friday, you know, I want the least resistance as possible. But some of the other ones that look good in that group was JetBlue. You see JetBlue is starting to coil up, and a breakout above this level right around 15.75, you know, could lead to a pretty decent move up. And another one was Southwest Airlines, ticker symbol LUV. We could definitely see that they are starting to round out, and looks like this thing could be coiling up to move higher as well. Of course, you do have that 200 period simple moving average above this one as well. But if we do get some continued buying in these airline stocks, I really like the way American Airlines is looking, so wish me luck on this one. If we get a move up to this next resistance area right around $22 a share before Friday, that is going to be a massive gainer for me in those options. All right, everybody, that's all I have for this one. But if you have any questions or comments on any of these stocks, or if you wanted me to take a look at any other stocks, please leave them down there in the comments section, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end, and until next time, take care, everybody.